Welcome, everyone. Good boy, Tucker. This is learning at its most fun.
And good afternoon.
Hello. All right. So welcome everybody to another practice management session. Today we have Peter Montoya joining us. And if you know, he is coming back for the third one. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming back because the content you provide is just great. So Peter Montoya's an expert in the financial services industry. He has led advertising agencies specializing for financial professionals, which is great for you guys. Advertising is something that you guys always have questions on. And in the last 22 years, he's delivered more than 2,000 presentations to financial advisors, developed more than 5,000 custom marketing plans, and authored 3 best-selling books. So he's also the father of 2 children, and he has just survived his 1 millionth mile on United Airlines. Woohoo! And is that pandemic time too?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's super accomplishment. All right then. So we will definitely hand over the floor and let you get started. So please join me in welcoming a big idea guy, Peter Montoya.
Nora, thank you so much. And thank you for having me back again. I love Redtail and I love my Redtail clients that we share in common. So it's always like coming home and doing these presentations. So thank you so much for having me. I want to share with you the distilled version of what works best in financial services marketing. I, on a regular basis, get phone calls and emails or financial advisors pulling me in the back of the room. And they say, Peter, I'm really interested in marketing that works. And what I hear them saying when they say that is, I basically want to write a check, do an email campaign, place an ad, or hold a dinner seminar and have so many prospects show up, get this many clients, and make this much money. That's what they seem to be implying, that marketing in financial services is kind of like this turnkey operation, which is very direct, like do the effort, spend the money, and the result comes. And I'm here to give you the very, very hard truth. It doesn't work like that. That is kind of the equivalent. I'm sure you've had somebody allude to this. A prospect comes into your office. They say, I have $100,000 and I want you to double it in a year. You say to them, it doesn't work that way. What you'll probably say is, listen, if you want to reach your retirement goals in this extended period of time, you save this much money with this much time, I can get your risk reduced to this, and I can get you there. But if you are expecting this direct, input in, direct put out tomorrow, it doesn't happen that way.
And that's hard because I feel like we're so used to that immediate gratification, or we see things go viral, right? And we're like, oh, why can't my campaign just blow up overnight? But you're right. But how do you feel about numbers then? Do you say don't focus on numbers at all?
Well, usually the people who go viral are 20-year overnight successes or 5-year overnight successes. So we see people who go viral, and it's not the first post they did or the first video they did. I mean, sometimes it is. Then it's really, really rare. Most likely they've been creators and they've been creating content daily or weekly or monthly. And after a year or two, they finally get a home run. So
you're right. They've established a brand, like this is what they are. And
exactly.
One just happened to go viral.
Right. That's exactly it. And then that's probably true for most of the advisors here on the call, that you have been a 20-year overnight success. So it takes a cumulative experience of constant little bits of effort over a long period of time that produces this snowball effect of really great marketing and branding where you get the results. So I would love to tell you there's a magic bullet. If I had it, believe me, I would be selling it. I would be a gazillionaire in financial services if it existed. I've traveled the country, talked to advisors, and some advisors have kind of found that magic bullet, but it's really kind of specific to them and their marketplace. If my job is to give you the things, the strategies that are going to work 90% of the time for 90% of the advisors. So that's what I do, is I have distilled it down. Here's what we know works 90% of the time for 90% of the advisors, or maybe even 100%. It's that predictable. It's not sexy, but it's predictable.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you want your marketing to work, here's the list. Here's how you permeate your brand into a community. Now, these are most of them you've seen already. My job here today is to keep, there's like 22 different ways to market, 20 different forms of marketing, including billboards and radio advertising and TV advertising. I'm going to boil it down to the 6 that we know work. These are the 6. All right, client referrals, not a shock. There's actually 3 different types of client referrals. The first kind of client referral is a solicited referral. This is where you sit before a client, you remind them of all the value you've created for them, tell them how great you are, and then you ask them for a name and a phone number on the spot. That's a solicited referral. Some advisors do this. There is some relational risk because you're putting them on the spot. So not everyone uses it. What's a little more popular is a promoted referral. And that's where you remind your clients of the value that you've added. You might share with them who your ideal client is. And you say something like, if ever you know somebody who might need my services, would you be kind enough to pass my name along? You're promoting referrals, but you're not asking for it on the spot. Now, the best kind of referral is a spontaneous referral. And this is a referral you didn't even ask for. But there is a formula to getting more spontaneous referrals. Let me see if I got a slide for it. I don't. So here's the formula if you want more spontaneous referrals. Number 1, specialize. So make sure that your clients know exactly what your business does. The more competition you have, the more specialized you have to be. The more competition you have, the more specialized you have to be. What percentage of financial advisors are specializing in pre-retirement and retirement planning with business owners, white-collar professionals, and retirees? About all of them. So if you've got a lot of competition, you want to narrow it down a little bit more. So the more specialized you are, the more credibility you have in your clients' minds and the prospects' minds, and the more referrals you will get because they know you're an expert in something. So specialize is number 1. Number 2, promote referrals, just like we talked about. It's very soft. Hey, I specialize in working only with retiring Boeing engineers. You're a retiring Boeing engineer. If you have any friends who are retiring, please refer me. That's a promoted referral. And third, and most important, is deliver world-class client service. So if you want more client referrals, that's what you do. Specialize, promote referrals, deliver world-class client service. Next is professional referrals. Estate planners, attorneys, CPAs. So whenever I talk about this topic in a live audience, financial advisors say to me, Peter, I'm always giving them referrals. They never give me referrals. CPAs say, I get my referrals from financial advisors. I don't give referrals to financial advisors. Okay, I got it. I understand. I understand the landscape in which we're in. So if you want more professional referrals, here are some strategies to helping you get more. First one is this. The best way to get a professional referral is to have a product or a service that is essential to another professional service provider. So here's an example outside of our industry. If you are a realtor and you are selling a house, what other services are essential to you selling a house? Escrow, title, mortgage, almost all probably essential. Then you might have things like staging companies, painters, people who do roofing and home
Sectors.
improvement.
Yeah.
Right. Those professions are all essential to the realtor's job. So the realtor is going to get the referral out. So the question is, do you have a product or a service that is essential to somebody else's job? I've got a financial advisor who specializes in evaluating estates down in Newport Beach. And so he works with divorce. He's a really good job of evaluating both businesses and estates. So when people get divorced down in Newport Beach, he's tied into all the divorce attorneys. The divorce attorneys then call him to say, hey, we need you to evaluate the value of all these possessions, all these things, so we know what the fair value is, so we can divide them up. And he is essential to those professional, those divorce attorneys to getting the job done. So what product or service do you have for your target market that is essential to them and their job?
And
That
that's tough because I feel like that almost requires a step back because you'd have to really investigate your audience too if you haven't, if you don't know the answer to this question at least. You'd have to maybe investigate like your database and see your ages that you're serving, or are they divorcees, or are they Boeing employees, and kind of see what you're specializing in maybe.
agreed. Yeah. So the first step whenever I work with a financial advisor is to specialize. And here I'll give you just a couple quick sentences on specialization. So I can say this, you can't. Past performance is the best indicator of future success. Past performance is the best indicator of future success. So doing that client evaluation, by the way, does Redtail have a tool to do that where you can list all your clients and the revenue they have for you and their professions? Does it have a kind of a tool like that?
Definitely, we do have a splash page that's going to break down by age distribution and by status and make it a very, colorful, friendly way to
Ah,
digest that information. But if you're looking for beyond that, like, what employers am I serving the
right.
most, or what sect of industries am I serving the most? You're gonna have to do a little bit more digging that we could work
And
with.
probably one of your integration partners probably does that. I don't know which one, but probably one of those integration partners probably does that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we call it a client evaluation, where you kind of list all your client names, you look at, how much revenue they have with you, who they're employed by, their age, their gender, marital status. That's a really good idea to run that report and start kind of categorizing it. And what most financial advisors discover is they have got a sweet spot. They go, okay, well, look at most of my clients are within a 5-mile drive of my office. They have $500,000. This is where I got the business. I like working with either couples or people that they can kind of find their sweet spot. And so once you found that, then you kind of find the product and services, and then you look for the professional referrals. So one way of getting professional referrals is become essential to those professionals. The second way to build professional referrals is just time. Time and visibility, which means you start learning and networking with the estate planners, the attorneys, and the CPAs that your clients work with. So whenever your clients work with those people, you kind of become a quarterback and you start engaging with those CPAs, attorneys, and CPAs, like that community. You build a reputation, and then you get referrals through kind of the repeated exposure. So those are the two ways you can get professional referrals. The first way is much more predictable than the second way, but the first way, you've got to be a little more specialized in order to make it work. All right, number 3, client events. The client events fall in 2 categories: educational events and social events. So educational events is where you bring out a professional. You find one of those CPAs, attorneys, or estate planners, and you ask them to come speak to your clients. Most of your wholesalers have client-facing presentations that are not on product. You call the Social Security Administration. Yes, the Social Security Administration has speakers who will come out for free, and they'll speak and talk about Social Security. One of the things that's rather surprising is whether your clients are worth $50,000 or $5 million, they will all show up. And the Social Security Administration only has 2 kinds of speakers: really, really good ones and really, really bad ones. and you won't know which one you get until they actually show up. Some of them are great, and some of them are god awful.
To speak on that point, I think I
Yeah.
sat in a presentation once saying, at least for marketing toward women, they like to see how the clock works, not
Mhm.
just what time it is. So providing those resources to kind of specialize and show those presentations can really add that credibility and trust.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So in general, we trust people who are altruistic. So if you are providing your clients value altruistically, like, I'm bringing out a speaker, there's no cost to you, it helps you, they will trust you more. So we trust people who are altruistic. So educational is one kind of event you can do, and the other kind of events you can do are social events. So social events can be anything at a winery, a local museum, anything on the water, fishing trips, sunset boat cruises, gambling things on river boats, anything on the water. I one time got asked the question, Peter, what is the very best client event idea? And the answer is whatever's best for your clients. I was one time in South Carolina, and one of my financial advisor clients invited me out for a client event, his client event. And his client event was at his house, and it was a squirrel shoot. So his clients all came to his house with their guns. They sat on the back patio, and they had a pine forest behind them, and they sat on the rails and shot squirrels. Actually, all I did was shoot trees. The squirrels all run away. But that's what he did, an annual squirrel shoot. And that's the right event for his clients in North Carolina. That event won't fly here in California. So you got to pick the right event for your clients and what they're most interested in. And I really like having a client advisory board. I think you should have a client advisory board. It could be 6 couples. It could be 12 people individually. And this is where you get a lot of your ideas. Hey, I'm thinking about doing an event. What do you think about this? I'm thinking about doing a Super Bowl party. Oh, we love that. Thinking about going to a museum. We don't care. This is where you kind of throw out those ideas and get feedback from your clients so you know what they want to do. And advisors who are really good at this, those social events become business generating, because your clients, and if it's a good enough event, they invite their clients. I'll share with you one more. This one's really funny. I never would have thought it was a good idea, but my financial advisor down here in Orange County has access. He chartered a boat, and he took us on a cargo ship tour. Remember how they had like 100 cargo ships parked off of California? He invited all his clients onto a boat, and we went out there and looked at all those cargo ships. Wow. I would never have thought that was a good idea, but as soon as I got the invitation, I was like, I want to go to this. It's like, he was being on a yacht is nice, but I want to go see these cargo ships. And so that's what we did. I mean, that was a brilliant idea.
It was relevant. It was timely. It was unique.
It was all that.
Yeah.
So social events are really important. I used to have a lot of clients who had built their businesses based on doing public seminars at steakhouses. And that kind of stopped working as well. The market got saturated. And they moved all of that organizational abilities over to client events, and just building social networks of clients who refer clients. So it's a really, really powerful way, client events. I would recommend doing 4 a year, between 4 and 12 per year. That's my recommendation. I'll give you one more. Vicki Beam up in, she's in Michigan. I can't remember. She's somewhere in the middle of Michigan, and she gives away pies. So every Thanksgiving and every 4th of July, she gives away pies. She found a provider who sells pies for, I think it was $10 a pie. She bought 60 pies, which was $600. The pies for 4th of July were done in red, white, and blue. So red pies were cherry, white pies were apple, blue pies were blueberry. She sent an email out to all of her clients and said, you get a free pie. Just tell me what you want. She had 60 pies delivered to her office. She and her staff got all dressed up in like all this 4th of July gear. And then they gave it away to all of their clients. I wonder if I could quickly find that page. I've got a bunch of pictures of that, but I don't think I've got them. I should probably put that in the presentation. It's a good idea.
I know, that's great. I love that.
And she spent all day. Let me correct that. That was a $3 million AUM day for her.
Wow.
So
you're not joking.
She got 5 people came in there and said, oh, by the way, I got to talk to you about this. I got to talk to you about this. She got $3 million out of that one last year's 4th of July party. So there's a good client. And it doesn't have to be that, but anything that gets your clients in an elevated emotional state where they're happy and excited, that's when the things start happening for you. And that's what you want to do. So it's a social educational event, perform at least 4, maybe 12. And I have some advisors who do 24. And sometimes I have advisors who go, well, my clients are, 100 miles away from me. You can go to, travel out to a client 100 miles away, take 2 couples out to dinner. That's a client event. So you can take 4 clients out to play golf. You can size these things up appropriately as well. Mm-hmm. Number 4, client communication. That's email, mail, text, or message. So how many contacts by email, mail, text, or message does the average financial advisor have with their client per year? And the average is probably about 4. Now, the goal of client communication is threefold. Excuse me. Goal number 1, keep what you got. So that is the first goal of everything you do, is to keep your current clients. Keep what you got. Second goal of client communication is generate more referrals from your existing clients. That's goal number 2. Goal number 3 of client communication is generate more product and service sales. Those are the 3 goals of all of your ongoing drip marketing campaign. How many pieces should you do if you want to achieve all 3 of those goals? So here are my recommendations. Bare bones minimum is 14. So 14 is a monthly newsletter, a birthday card, and a holiday card. So 12 months, birthday card, holiday card, that gets you to 14. That's bare bones minimum. And we as human beings, we want to spend the least amount of money and get the most bang for our buck, right? What's the thing that I can do that's really easy that generates the best result? And the answer to that question is the birthday campaign. So the birthday campaign means either calling your clients on their birthday, or calling their clients or mailing them a card on their birthday. And if you call your clients on their birthday, all you do is talk to them about personal stuff. Do not talk about business. Mm-hmm. Talk only about them personally. And if you're lucky enough to get your answering machine or voicemail, just tell them how much you appreciate them. Just tell them specifically what you like about them. What I really like about you, what I really appreciate about you. And then also say, I'm really grateful for you because of blank. So if you get them on the phone or on a voicemail, don't just say happy birthday. Everyone does that. Tell them what you appreciate, or what you what you are grateful of, both of them. And one person put in the chat, she says that she sings them, or she or he says that they sing them happy birthday. He or she, I don't know, it's Jesse, I don't know if that's a he or she, didn't realize how much it meant to them, but they absolutely love it. So yeah, cute little things, personal things like that work really, really well. Good job. Next, 20 points of contact. So 20 would be the next level up. That's 12 monthly messages, a birthday card, a holiday card, and then about 6 other articles during the course of the year. So whenever you come across an article that you think is pertinent to your clients and prospects, you put that in there too. And my most successful clients, they're doing 60 or more per year. That is a weekly economic update, a weekly financial article, that's 52, a birthday card, holiday card, gets you to 54, and then another 6 articles that you find interesting during the course of the year. Now, if you were sitting there thinking 60, oh, Peter, that is way too much for me. My clients would block me. You're probably right. So here's the deal, is your relationship is not strong enough to send them 60. So if your best friend sends you 60 messages, let's say they're a realtor and they sent you 60 messages per year, would you complain about it and block them and mark them as spam? No. Why? The friendship factor. Okay. Somebody you don't know starts sending you 60 messages. Are you going to block them? Probably. So the quantity of what you do is dependent upon the strength of your personal relationship. And when your relationship is stronger, you can have more contact, and more contact results in more business, more referrals, and more loyalty. So if your little intuition is going 60 is too many, you're probably right. Start with 14, or maybe divide your clients into A clients, B clients, and C clients, and send your A the 60, your B the 20, and your C's the 14. The company that I started, which was Marketing Pro, which I sold to FMG Suites, has that capability. So that's one service that can do that for you. So it can be completely automated for you.
Yeah, and I think how you said it depends on your relationship with them. I think also it depends on your strategy with how you're going to approach this. If you're going to, leave this call and go reach out 60 times in the next, 10 months, that might not be as successful. But maybe what you're suggesting is at the start of the year, or maybe today, dedicate some time and start thinking about these series, because what you mentioned with the newsletter series monthly, that can be pre-built, arranged.
Oh yeah.
The birthday, that's a series. You could pre-built that. That's arranged.
Absolutely.
So when I saw 14, I was like, oh, that's a lot. But then you mentioned that those are pre-built things, so it makes it less daunting.
Oh,
I guess.
Oh yeah. So Marketing Pro, FMG Suites, and others build these automated campaigns. It's a set it and forget it, which means you basically you integrate with Redtail. It brings all the clients in. You can put the clients in a campaign and say, okay, they get the high contact, moderate contact, low contact campaign. They get a birthday card. They get a birthday phone call. It, reminds you to call them. So you can set it and forget all of this stuff. You can have someone else on your team do it. This stuff is so easy today versus what it was 20 years ago, when you had to have a folder that had every month in it, and you had to pull out the cards for that month, and then so much harder. It's so much easier today. John shared that he writes a birthday poem, which is awesome. That you do that. So yeah, handwritten notes are a really, really big deal. So I love mail. So 90% of your mail, what is 90% of, let me say, what is 99% of your mail? Junk and bills. So handwritten cards stand out. I love handwritten cards. We'll see how quickly I can get to my handwritten cards, because I have them right next to my desk, and I write them almost every single day. There's my card with my name on it. Here's my nice envelope that I bought.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So whenever I get done with a meeting, it literally takes me, I don't know, 3 minutes to handwrite the card, handwrite the address, put a stamp on it. And the relationship building that happens from a card like this is unbelievable. So I'm not giving you advice that I don't do myself. And it's not that hard. It really isn't. And sometimes when I know I have a bunch of birthdays coming up for friends, on a Sunday, I'm sitting around watching football, and I just do them while I'm watching football. So yes. So I'm not giving you advice. I'm not taking for myself. Handwritten cards are phenomenal. Nancy also says that she sings on birthday, live or voicemail, and they keep the voicemail and listen to it multiple times. I can't tell you
that's
how important.
Awesome.
I know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So I've been begging to do client outreach, and it's met with nothing but resistance. They don't want to hear from us. Interesting spin on strength of relationship. So Carrie, so I don't know, I don't know your clients, but yeah, it could be a strength of relationship, and also it can sometimes be cultural. I've met people up in New York who just say, "Look, Peter, you're from California. You're warm and fuzzy. We're New Yorkers. We're no BS. They don't want to hear from me personally." And I don't know if it's your personality or New York, but that maybe just the way that it is culturally. But yeah, the more personal you can get, the better that personal relationship in general is the key to getting more business and more referrals. Okay. All right. So the combination of educational messages, prospecting messages, personal messages. Number 5 is your website. So websites were introduced for financial advisors 25 years ago. It was like 1997, the first advisors started getting websites. They created websites that were really ugly and very, very deep, which means they had lots and lots of resources. They had calculators and stock quotes and articles, and they were hideously ugly. So they were really, really ugly, but very, very deep. Today, your website can be shallow. It doesn't have to be that many pages, but it has to be pretty. And that's specific to financial services. Under other industries have a different calculus. But for financial services, you want to have a gorgeous website, beautiful website that can be very shallow. So that means good looking pictures, good design, well-written copy. You don't be afraid to spend the money on a good quality, a beautiful designed website. You only have to have, okay, so I've got a couple notes here on website. So make sure your website is current, current picture, and make sure your text reflects your specialization. All right, let me ask you this question here. What percentage of prospective clients come to your website to look at your website before they call you? What percentage of prospective clients come to your website to check you out before they call you? Steve, you got the answer exactly right, 84%. Now, I don't know if it's 84% or 99%, but yeah, it's like 85 to 90%. It's like really, really high. If they come to your website and it looks like you have some picture out of the 1980s and it's ugly, they're going to go on to, or they can't find your website, they're going on to somebody else who does. If your website is pretty, I mean, it really looks good, and also if they know what you do. So it's really important when someone arrives on your website, the most important thing besides it being pretty, good looking, is they have to understand what you do for a profession. So are you doing financial planning, retirement planning, estate planning, tax planning? Are you doing asset management? They need to know what it is that you do. And no one goes to the hardware store to buy a drill bit. People go to the hardware store to buy the benefit, to buy a hole. So what is that you do for your client? What is the benefit? What is the outcome that comes from it? So yes, you can talk about the service, the drill, financial planning, estate planning, tax planning, asset management, stuff like that. You can talk about those things, but what you really want to focus on is what is the benefit to them. And the more specific you can be, the better. But of course, being specific means you know who your specialization is. Good. All right. Make sure you get yourname.com if it's still available. So whatever, I've got petermontoya.com. If you can get yourname.com, if it's still available, get it, even if you don't use it. And here are the elements of an effective website. First of all, your domain name should be the same as your company name. So whatever your company name is, should be the same name as your website. That's ideally what it should be, preferably .com. If it's not available, you go for the next best choice. First name, last name.com, first name, last name.net, first name dash last name.com, company name.net. You just go for the next best option. And there's no rule. It's just kind of like what feels best. Email address. Please stop using your personal email for business. So no more at Yahoo's, at Gmails, if God forbid you still have a Hotmail or AOL and you're using that for business. Just so you know, that transmits to your clientele that you are way out of touch. Those are way out of fashion. So you want to be using an email address that is, I mean, can you imagine if Nora emailed you from her personal Gmail address versus at Redtail Technologies?
I know. And I had this happen the other day too. My cousin has a swim lesson business and she has like swimdoc at yahoo.com. And I was like, this, like, because we're trained to like investigate for spam too.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this, like, we've been trained not to like look
Yeah.
at it unless it's at business.com.
Right. It looks
Correctly
unprofessional.
spelled, correctly punctuated, just for security purposes too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you might, someone on here has an at AOL email address and they're going, oh, I never even thought about that. But yeah, somebody has seen your at AOL email address and gone, oh, these guys are dated. I need someone a little who's more with it, that it is kind of with the times. Are people that judgmental? Yep, and they sure are. They are. So make sure your email address is to stop using your personal email address for business. It should be your name at yourcompanyname.com. Your website it can have more than this. You can have way more than this if you want to, but there are 5 basic pages it should have. It's got to have a home page, and it's got to answer the most important question: what do you do and who do you do it for? Once they arrive on your website, that's their first question. What do you do and who do you do it for? Second question, about. So your about pages. Who are you? Who works for you? And what do they do? They want to see the people in your team. Who are you? They do want to know who you are. Products, services, and specializations. So if you want to go into more detail about your products and services, great, do that. I am a huge fan of the strategic coach. And one of the things he teaches is to have you develop a process of how you work with clients or a philosophy. Great. The website is a great place for you to put that. Your contact page, phone number, fax number. I don't know. The only people who use fax, I think, today are doctors' offices because they're so dated. Maybe title companies, but otherwise, insurance companies.
Student loan company, yeah.
Oh my God, still using fax. But yeah, if you've got a fax number and you include that, so include all of your contact information. And the last page you should have access to is your account access page. Most likely you have a third-party provider who allows for a client account access. So those are the 5 pages you must have. Can you have more than that? Sure, fine. But those are the 5 pages you must have. But once again, prettiness, beauty is far more important than depth. So shallow and beautiful is more important than ugly and deep.
Yeah, and it kind of ties to your original point of, if you're soliciting referrals, whether it's those spontaneous ones or it's those ones that are asked on the spot, your website is kind of proof. So somebody mentioned your name. Now someone's going to go and do their own research, their own groundwork. So you have to kind of control that and
That's exactly right.
Provide that credential for whoever just mentioned your name.
Exactly right. So websites are not, in general, lead generation sites. So if you're thinking you're going to build a website and you're going to buy some SEO marketing and you're going to get 10 leads a month, it probably isn't going to happen. That's not the goal of a website. The goal of a website is to guarantee or ensure the referral that you get comes through. So when someone refers you, they go and check you out and they go, oh, this person is high quality. They are professional. They are credible. Now I'm going to call them. So it's there to ensure the referral comes through. That's the reason why you have it. Well put, Nora. All right, number 6 is networking. Belong to at least 2 and as many as 5 different networks. And I use that word network very, very broadly. So when you pick a group And once again, I use that word very, very broadly, because a group could be a nonprofit, which is organized and has a contact list. But then I also have people who they have an informal group and they play poker with a bunch of people, and that's their group. I've seen other guys they were guys who specialize in business owners, and these guys all drive expensive cars, and they get together with their cars and they talk about cars. And so that was a group too. So it could go from the formal, which is I'm a member on a board, to the informal, which is we get together and we go fishing once a month. It could be anything in between. I would recommend you belong to at least 2 and as many as 5. One of my very best friends, his name is Greg Custer, and he's been in the banking industry, in the trust business for 30 years. And he is a master of networking. He lived in Pasadena, and he has been sitting on the Tournament of Roses board for 20 years. He's been a board member of that, and the people on that board are a who's who of philanthropists and business owners there. So he's gotten tons of business. He moved down closer to where I live, down here in Orange County, And the first thing he did was he joined the Pacific Club, which is a country club for business. So it's in the middle of town, but it's kind of like a country club where you belong and have a membership, you go there. And he quickly established himself as a leader there. So whenever you join an organization, you want a leadership role as quickly as humanly possible. That means you show up early, you know everyone's name, you're helping out, you're seen as altruistic, you're seen as a leader in the community. You want to do that as quickly as possible. I couldn't believe how quickly he got to $1 billion on AUM when he moved down to Orange County. I was shocked at the speed at which he did that, but the guy knows how to network. You get in the right organizations, you get leadership roles. He spends 15 hours a week, maybe more, doing networking, but that's how he does it. So let me ask you a question. Wait, 2 more things. When you pick your groups, 2 things. Number 1, pick a group that you're passionate about. So you can't say, well, all of my clients like yachting, and I hate boating, but I'm going to join the yacht club. That doesn't work. So you got to pick something you're passionate about. And number 2, you got to pick a group that your clients are in, or there are people who can refer you to your clients. So there are estate planners and CPAs or whatever, and there are 401k administrators, and they can refer you to clients. So either your ideal client's got to be in there, or they can refer you to your ideal client. So make sure both criteria are held. So let's say you take my advice and you say, okay, Peter, I'm going to jump right in here. I'm going to go join a couple groups that I'm passionate about, that my ideal clients are in, and you start attending meetings, you get a leadership role. How many months or how many years before you get your first nibble, before your first referral comes around? How many months or how many years do you think it takes? Put your guess in the chat. How long before you get your first nibble for your first client? First person says, hey, I'm interested in something. 2 months, 18 to 24 months, 6 to 12 months. Yeah. Anywhere between 6 months and 24 months. It could, yeah, you guys are right there. So it's not a overnight thing. And the bigger the prospective clients are, the longer it takes. So most of you probably have tried a BNI, Business Networking International, or Chamber of Commerce, or Rotary, or there's another group like that. It's kind of like little lunch clubs where everyone shares stuff. And if you are a CPA and you're doing personal tax returns for $150, how long would it take for you to get your first referral? Probably your first meeting. There's somebody who hasn't done their taxes, and it's low cost. All right. Your ideal client is wealthy families who have $10 million or more. How long is it going to take before you get your first referral? Probably 3 years. And you probably have to sit on the board, and you have to have done, hundreds of hours of service in an organization. But then all of a sudden, 3 years in, you're starting to get referrals left and right because you've taken the time to build a relationship and a reputation, another word for brand, with these high net worth people. You gonna share something, Nora?
Yeah, I think that's great. And I was just kind of wondering, like, I know you were mentioning a lot of professional and business type organizations and events, but how successful do you see like personal stuff? Like, if you see a lot of your clients maybe are dealing with like opiate addiction or something happening in their family, that's can you go to like that organization and be like, hey, this month we're donating to this?
Sure.
Would that be something that's meaningful, like more life events than just business?
Absolutely. Yeah, anything that you're passionate about, that your heart is in, and people can see that you are truly giving to the organization, and your ideal clients there, or ideal clients can refer you there. Yes, so it can be formalized or it can be really informal. I mean, I know another financial advisor, and he just coaches everything. So he coaches all his kids' sports. He's like coaching 3 or 4 sports. He's a great coach. He knows all the parents. And that's all he does is just coaches, and he gets tons of referrals.
Yeah.
Because he coaches all his kids' activities.
You're an upstanding member of community. Yeah. Automatically, like you're getting my card of
right.
Like you're a great person of the community if you're doing that. So
that's exactly it. You are a cancer in the community in a positive way. There's kind of your tentacles are everywhere. You're seen as a leader. You're seen as altruistic, as a professional, as a leader. This is how you do it. Mm-hmm. So I just gave you 6 different marketing channels. Somebody asked for this presentation, and yeah, I'll make this presentation available to you afterwards in a second here. So I give you 6 different marketing channels, and I'm going to give you a chance here to ask any questions. So here is the 6, if you want to write them down and you didn't. So we got client referrals, and we talked about how to get spontaneous referrals. Professional referrals, estate planners, attorneys, CPAs. We talked about how to do that. We talked about client events, social and educational client events. We talk about a drip marketing campaign by a combination of email, mail, messaging. We talked about your website, having a website. We didn't talk about social media, but that means your social media pages too. And the last one here was networking. So those are your 6 marketing channels. If you were brand new in the business, how many, I oftentimes think, I do this thought exercise. Okay, I'm 53 years old. I live here in Orange County. And if I was to start as a financial advisor, what would I do? But what I do, I would jump into networking, and I would find the right organizations as quickly as humanly possible. I'd probably find 4. I'd find one organization that was probably like either estate planners, attorneys, or CPAs that allowed for non-professionals to be members. So as a financial advisor, I could go in there, I would get a leadership role, and I would start writing articles and put it in their newsletter about wealth management and estate planning. I would write articles on a regular basis. I would do that. I would find myself the 3 best nonprofit organizations that had really wealthy people on it. I would get myself in there and volunteer and be on the board. So that's the first thing I would do. I would do the drip campaign, and I put all my friends, my family, prospects, and clients on a drip campaign. I would put that up day number 1. I would also have my website, high quality website. And then I would also make sure all my social media pages were done. I have all those going too. And then as soon as humanly possible, I would start doing social events. And like I said, social events could be happy hour. I mean, social events could be, taking a client out for their birthday and saying, hey, bring 3 or 4 of your friends. And then that's a social event. I would start networking. My job, 30 or 40 hours a week would be getting out of the office and getting myself involved in these organizations. That's what I would do. And it would take me 6 months, but after 6 months, I would probably start seeing 2 to 3 new ideal clients per month. I'd probably start taking my foot off the pedal a little bit on some of those activities. I would do maybe now 1 client event versus doing a bunch of little lunches. Yeah. And whenever I got a client referral, here's what I would do. So sometimes you have clients that go, I think my Aunt Martha would really like your services. I would say, hey, why don't we all go out to lunch? So I'll buy you and your Aunt Martha lunch. And so whenever I promote referrals and they made that suggestion, I would always say, let's go out to lunch. So I would be just networking my tail off is what I would be doing. It would take me 6 months, but after 6 months, I would be getting 2, 3, 4, 5 ideal clients every single month. That would be my strategy of how I would do it if I were you.
Yes, you are giving the permission right now to almost go out and have fun. Well, it's kind of just going out and like discovering your purpose of, where do you want to kind of set out your little seeds. So it's strategic, but it is saying, go 30 to 40 hours out of the office, get out there, you know, and just get the job done.
Yes, that's basically it. That when you're first starting in the business, that is your job, is marketing.
I know, and I hate it. I feel awful too because I hear it all the time working one-on-one with offices where they're like, Nora, I'm not a tech person. I don't have time to sit here 10 hours a week working on my CRM. I need to be out there on the field marketing. And I totally understand, you need to do the prospecting and
You
hit
do.
the field.
That is your job when you first
Mhm.
get started. So, a question for the audience: how many of you know of another advisor who is half as bright as you are and makes twice as much money? Now, if you're thinking of somebody like that, the reason they make twice as much money is maybe they've just been in the business longer than you have. But the other reason is they probably have just focused more on marketing than you have. It boils down to that. And most of marketing isn't sexy. It isn't coming with this brilliant idea. It's basic blocking and tackling. I laid out what you got to do. You just put it in your calendar, and that is your job. I got a question. Question from, I think it was from John, saying, if you specialize in serving a university alumni,
Oh.
best practices, I would be doing alumni events like you wouldn't believe, especially if they have a football team or any kind of sports team. I would be looking for anything that gets them out cheering and happy. You want to be around your clients when they are emotionally high. So what kind of peak experiences can you be around when they are that? So I would be the king and queen organizer of your alumni organization, and organize events, be the person who sets those things up, makes everyone feel welcome. And I'd be looking to do more of those. I mean, I kind of look at, I'm sure most of you have kids like I do. And I was doing a mentoring call with a graduate student who is an MBA, and they said to me, Peter, if you had one piece of advice for me as an MBA student, what would your piece of advice be? And my advice was become the number one connector of everyone in your class. So be the one who organizes the happy hours at the end of the quarter. Be the one who organizes meetings. Connect with everyone on LinkedIn. Get everyone connected. You become the center of that hub with all those people in your wheel. Become the leader of your class, more or less. And the reason is those are the people who, when they get a job and they go, we're hiring, they'll think about you because they'll know what a natural leader you are. That's how you want them thinking of you. This is the altruistic, natural leader who gets things done. That's the qualities you want them thinking about you. And so that's what I would be doing.
That is really organic advice. I like that. Last one from Brianna saying, do most others here send thank you gifts to clients if they refer new clients, or is that a dated practice?
I still have advisors who do. There's obviously rules around that. I think it's a maximum of $25, which is kind of soft. I mean, that yes, you can send electronic gift cards, you can send thank you notes, you can send cakes. I mean, Food is a good one. You can always send cookies, cakes, pies, any of those local companies that are really good, that service that they're local. Those are all great for you to do. So that's really easy and usually low cost. Someone said they do brownies. It's a great idea. All right.
Yeah,
So
what's great too is like DoorDash too. You could throw in
yeah.
someone's address and just deliver like crumble cookies over to their address, like in the next 40 minutes, you know?
Right. That's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So you can DoorDash them something. Brilliant. All right. So Nora, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that idea. I'm going to use that idea in my next presentation, and I'm not going to give you credit. So this is the only time I'm going to acknowledge you for that idea. And after that, going forward, it was always my idea. So that's a really good idea. Thank you for that.
I'm happy to contribute. I'm happy to be in Peter Montoya's presentations from this point forward.
All right, so going back to when we very first started, remember how I started and I said, okay, I get this question, Peter, I want marketing that works. I just told you what works. And you're going, well, Peter, it's not a magic bullet. It doesn't happen tomorrow. I'm sorry. Neither is your client's retirement. There's no magic bullet to retire, saving money and retiring. There's no magic bullet to marketing. It's exactly the same formula. Yeah. It's time and compound interest. It is time and a little bit of marketing. You're building a reputation. The best synonym for the word brand is reputation. Yeah. You're building your reputation. So when people think about your service, they think about your name.
And I'm almost thinking algorithm in my head now too, because it's like you have to just put these things in place and it'll all compute and make your brand, you know? It's like, how does a brand happen? Well, if you put your website, your social media, your email marketing, all this comes together and makes your brand.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I have my next call. Nora, it's always a pleasure seeing you. Yes. And everyone who's on our call here today, thank you so much for your diligence. The time you spent today here was really meaningful. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to sharpen your proverbial saw to learn how to improve your business. So thank you so much for being here with me today. It was really a treat.
Guys, thank you so much. Take care. And the recording will be available, I'd say next week. We'll edit it this week and it'll be available next week on our help desk. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy Super Bowl. Have a happy Valentine's Day and take care, everyone.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.